So today we learned about three ideas. Well, really two ideas, and we reviewed a third. So the first idea was the idea of a density curve. So instead of drawing all of those histograms, we could just draw a curve over the whole region. And because the area of those curves represented the percentage of scores between two given values, the density curve connecting the midpoints of the rectangles of the histogram always have to be above the x-axis. And the area under the density curve will always add up to 100% or 1, 100% of the material or 1. So if we have a uniform distribution like we have here, and that uniform distribution goes from 0 to k, then we know that the height of each of these, so if this is going to have an area of 1, and this is k units wide, it has to be 1 over k units tall, so that the area will turn out to be 1. We talked about the idea that if we're talking about the mean of a mathematical model, so not where we gathered a list of numbers and averaged them together, but what we think the mean should be, we call that mu. And what we think the standard deviation of all the data should be, we call that the lowercase sigma. So two Greek letters. So in a normal distribution, this is not normal, this is a uniform distribution. But in a normal distribution, we would expect about 68% of the data to be within one standard deviation of the mean. So that means 68% of the area under the curve will go from the mean minus 1 standard deviation to the mean plus 1 standard deviation. This would be where a z-score is equal to 1 below, so it's actually a negative 1. And this would be where the z-score is 1 above, or a positive 1. If we go from 2 standard deviations below to 2 standard deviations above, or a z-score of negative 2 to a z-score of positive 2, we'd encompass 95% of the area under the curve, or 95% of the data will be in there. And if we go out 3 standard deviations above and below the mean, we're going to capture 99.7% of the area under the normal curve. So 99.7% of the data will be within 3 standard deviations of the mean. And finally, when we do the shapes of density curves, this will be skewed right. And just like when we did the shapes of distributions, not mathematical models, but distributions, the mean will be bigger than the median when it's skewed right. Likewise, skewed left, the mean will be less than the median. And symmetric, whether it looks like this, or even a uniform would be symmetric, the mean and the median will be approximately the same. So those are the three big ideas that we discussed in class on October 5th. So as we look at applying the 68, 95, 99.7 rule, if the data follows the normal model, then we know that 68% of the data will be within 1 standard deviation of the mean. So if this is 1 standard deviation below the mean, here would be the mean. If this is 1 standard deviation below the mean, so we'd be at a z-score of negative 1. And this is a z-score of positive 1, 1 standard deviation above the mean. Then we know that 68% of the data is going to be between those two values. 68% is going to be in this range right here. That means that we have 32% out in the two wings. 100% minus 68%. So the question here says what percentage of the data is greater than 1 standard deviation above the mean. So the area out in this curve right here, if we take the 100% minus the 68%, we get 32% out in the two wings combined. Because this is a symmetric curve, we can divide that 32% by 2, and we'll get 16% of the scores are going to be greater than 1 standard deviation above the mean. We can do that same kind of thought process here as we look at the second question. And again, this is only going to be true if the data follow a normal model. So if the data are normally distributed, then we can make the following conclusions. So if they're normally distributed, then between negative 1 and positive 2. So let's kind of break that up into two parts here. So let's pretend that's a normal distribution. Z-score of -1 will be 1 standard deviation below the mean. And a z-score of +2 will be 2 standard deviations above the mean. So we're going to break that up into two parts. We're going to find the part between the mean and 1 standard deviation below. Well, we know that there's 68% between 1 standard deviation below to 1 standard deviation above. So half of that would be 34% in this little region right here. So this area of the curve is going to be 34%. And that's part of the region that we want. What we also want is the area from the mean to +2 standard deviations. So let's remember that the 68, 95, 99.7 rule says that we're going to have 95% of the data between a z-score of -2 and +2. So 95% of the data is in here. Now if I divide that by 2, if I divide 95% in half, we're going to get 47.5% between the mean and 2 standard deviations above the mean. So the area of this region right in here is going to be 47.5%. Now, if we add those two together, then that'll give us the total area, the area that we want, which goes from a z-score of -1 to a z-score of +2. So that total area will be the sum of the 34 and the 47.5, which I think will be 81.5. So 34 plus 47.5% will give us 81.5% of the scores will be between -1 and +2 for z-scores. As we look at the Check Your Understanding questions, this is not normally distributed. This one follows a uniform distribution, which means all of the heights here on that curve are the same. And we know that the area under any density curve is 1, or 100%. And this density curve creates a rectangle to find the area underneath. So the length of the rectangle from 1 to 5 is a distance of 4. So the height of this rectangle, which is what we're looking for, the height times 4 has to give us the area of 1, or 100%. So that means the height has to be 1/4. So this distance right here has to be 1/4, or 25%, whichever way you like to think of it. About what percentage of the time will the light flash more than 3.75 seconds after the subject clicks start? Well, 3.75 seconds would be here. On up to here would be the area under this part of the curve right here. So we now know the height. The height is 25%, or 1/4. And the distance along the curve from here to here, that distance would be from 3.75 to 5, which would be 1 1/4. So it would be about 1/4 of 1.25 seconds. So this distance times this distance will give us that area, which is the answer that we're looking for. So doing the math here, we see that about 31.25% of the time the light will flash more than 3.75 seconds. So the question here says, find and interpret the 38th percentile. So when we're done, we're going to interpret it by saying blank is the time that separates the bottom 38% from the top 62%. So we're looking for that number that separates the bottom 38% of times from the top 62. So here, we know that 1 is the smallest. We're looking somewhere in here, I would guess. So that we're looking for this time, this is what we're looking for, that separates so that we have 38% of the area under the curve shaded here. Well, this is a rectangle. We know the height of the rectangle. We know the area we want. This time the area here has to equal 0.38. And we know the area of a rectangle is the length times the width. So in this case, we don't know this distance right here. So we'll call that distance d. We do know the height, though. The height of this rectangle is 0.25. And so 0.25 times d has to equal 0.38. So the bottom 38% is going to be 1.52 from here. So d turns out to be 1.52. That's the distance that we are above 1. So if we add the 1.52 plus the 1, we'll get 2.52 seconds is the internet wait time that separates the bottom 38% of wait times from the top 62% of wait times. So in our last setting here, we know that the heights of women follow a model that has a mean of 64.5 and a standard deviation of 2.5. We sketch the normal curve because we know that 68% are going to be between one standard deviation below and one above. So the mean is 64.5, and we subtract the 2.5, we'll be at 62. We add the 2.5, we'll be at 67. So 68% of the women are going to have heights in that interval. If we add another 2.5 and subtract another 2.5, we're going to get 95% of the data between 59.5 and 69.5 inches tall. And add another 2.5 on this end and subtract another 2.5 off the left end, and we'll have 99.7% of the women are going to be between a height of 57 and 72 inches tall. So about what percentage of the women have heights that are less than 69.5? Well, 69.5 corresponds with a z-score of 2, and we know that 95% of the women are going to have a height that's between a z-score of -2 and a z-score of +2. That means 2.5%, 5% have to be in these two areas combined. So each of those must have 2.5% of the women in that region. So to figure out what heights would be less than 69.5, we could either add these two numbers together, or we could subtract this 2.5% from 100%. Either way, we're going to get about 97.5% of women will have heights less than 69.5. And is a young woman whose height is 62 inches considered unusually short? Well, if we think about that for a minute, that 62 corresponds with a z-score of -1. So 62, we labeled that up here. To have a z-score of -1, and we know that 68% of the women have heights that are between the z-score of -1 and the z-score of +1, which would be at 67. So if 68% of the women are in here, then we can take 100 minus the 68%, divide by 2, and we'll get 16% of the women are going to have heights that are shorter. 16% of the women are going to be shorter than 62 inches. Now, would I call somebody, if 16% of the people are shorter than me, I would not call that unusually short. In order to be unusually short, I'd have to say it'd have to be like less than 5%. So, is a young woman with height 62 inches? No. About 16% of the women will be shorter than her. So more than 1 in 10. And that wraps up the Check Your Understanding for section 2.1.